Tulsi Gabbard, Trump's pick for Director of National Intelligence, recently announced at the direction of Donald Trump that she revoked the security clearances and access to classified information for Anthony Blinken, Jake Sullivan, Lisa Monaco, Mark Zaid, Norman Eisen, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, Andrew Weissman, and the 51 signatories of the Hunter Biden disinformation letter. In addition to these ordered restrictions, Tulsi also removed Joe Biden from the daily presidential briefing. Deeply concerning is that among those whose access was restricted is an active sitting state's attorney general. Let's talk about it. Personnel from previous administrations oftentimes maintain their security clearances as well as their access to classified information to ensure continuity on behalf of the national interests. Revoking access to these areas places the current administration in a position to be flying blind without context of the international stage in which the United States operates. Importantly, restricting the access of states' attorney general severely handicaps their ability to investigate and bring charges. And while these areas are important, revoking access to this information allows for another possibility: unknown, under-the-table deals with the administration to take place and to be guaranteed and carried out. Among those whose access to sensitive information was revoked is Letitia James. She is the current Attorney General of the state of New York and has served in that role since 2019. Notably, Letitia James won her case against Donald Trump before the New York State Supreme Court, which resulted in the Trump Organization having to pay $450 million for financial fraud and illegal conduct. Donald Trump's sons, Eric and Don Jr., were also banned from serving as an officer or director of any New York company for 2 years. Similarly, Donald Trump and his companies are barred from applying for loans at any New York-based bank or financial institution for 3 years. But are there other considerations on the table the current administration would want to prevent state officials like Letitia James from looking into? On September 25, 2025, the New York Times reported Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, had been indicted by federal officials. Eric Adams was indicted with 1 count of conspiracy to defraud the United States, 1 count of wire fraud, 2 counts of soliciting campaign contributions for foreign nationals, and 1 count of soliciting and accepting a bribe. Implied in the indictment of Eric Adams was his relationship with Turkey, a relationship for which the liaison to Turkey for New York City, Rana Abazava, resigned her position and agreed to work with federal officials in their investigation. For his part, Eric Adams pled not guilty and stated the U.S. prosecutors pursued him because he criticized the immigration policy of Joe Biden. According to Eric Adams, quote, "Despite our pleas, when the federal government did nothing as its broken immigration policies overloaded our shelter system with no relief, I put the people of New York before party in politics. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you all, that I would be a target. And a target I became." Coincidentally, both immigration and the country of Turkey is where Eric Adams and Donald Trump find common ground, with Eric Adams preferring for his case to be dismissed and Trump needing the cooperation of the mayor in order to make his immigration raids possible. The grounds for a quid pro quo were set. Eric Adams had plenty reason to be concerned about his 5-count indictment from federal officials. Mike Flynn, Donald Trump's former national security advisor, was convicted of conspiring to act as an undisclosed agent of Turkey. Similarly, Rudolph Giuliani was also scrutinized for attempting to strike a deal between the United States and Turkey on behalf of one of his clients. While Rudy Giuliani faced a federal inquiry because of his dealings with Turkey, Mike Flynn, on the other hand, was granted a full pardon by Donald Trump on November 25, 2020. Accordingly, Mike Flynn was not held to account for his relationship with Turkey or Russia. In other words, what was made clear for Eric Adams was that Donald Trump was willing to play ball in an arena that would make himself look good and or prevent potentially damning information from going public. According to then acting U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Danielle Sassoon, Eric Adams' attorneys offered the equivalent of what was a quid pro quo, that he would allow immigration and customs enforcement officers into New York City if his case were dropped. Soon thereafter, Danielle Sassoon, along with 5 other officials, resigned their positions after being told to drop Eric Adams' case. But did the Trump administration actually accept Eric Adams' offer?
You're up early anyway.
If he doesn't come through, I'll be back in New York City,
Right.
and we won't be sitting on the couch. I'll be in his office, up his butt, saying, "Where the hell is the agreement we came to?" So,
and I want ICE to deliver. And I want ICE to deliver. We're going to deliver for the safety of the people of this city.
Right.
On February 10, 2025, a memo from the Deputy Attorney General of the United States was issued requiring that the pending charges against Mayor Eric Adams be dropped and that his security clearances be restored. A month later, on March 10th, 2025, those same security clearances were stripped from Letitia James by Tulsi Gabbard. Interestingly, the most recent data made available by Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement makes clear that New York City leads in the number of arrests for those who are in violation of immigration orders. Seemingly, there is a quid pro quo at play, which mutually benefits both Donald Trump and Mayor Eric Adams. By agreeing to seemingly permit ICE officers into New York City, Eric Adams saved not only himself, but also circumvented the possibility of other charges surfacing by cutting off the access of those who could bring such charges, even if it is the same person who successfully won a judgment against Donald Trump. And all of this is made possible, as Tulsi Gabbard, a former Democratic presidential nominee, makes clear, at the direction of Donald Trump. Seemingly, the old adage remains true. Politics indeed makes strange bedfellows. I'll see you next time. Peace.